Welcome back to the Virgo channel. If you're new, my name is Laura. I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, roles can be reversed. Always take the message as it best resonates. Part of the reading could be more for the person that you're connected to, meaning they would resonate with it more. And that's because they needed to hear that message. Energy goes to who needs to hear it, because energy is the language of the universe. And so when we have spiritual wounds, what happens is that they play out as karmic themes. They play out as karmic themes within our relationship. So I don't like to just do readings that are surface, like what your person's going to do and what they did and how they feel, because all those things a lot of times are temporary, because a person that has a lot of wounds tends to live more from their emotional center. And if you're imbalanced, and imbalance means that you've gone through experiences that made you feel not good enough, made you live in a way that you had to either overcompensate, where overgive your energy in order to get something in return, or undergive, because someone that was around was a constant taker. We can form habits due to our environment, and what is supportive in one environment is not going to be supportive in another. So the best thing that we could do is learn how to be balanced within ourselves, because we take ourselves with us. And in order to be able to go with the flow within a relationship and just within life, we need to be able to be fluid. See, our energy body is that nervous system, and energy is chi, it's oxygen, and it's got to flow through us to work through us, because chi is also known as spirit. Spirit is God, it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere, and it is the vibration of unconditional love. And we actually have that energy inside of us. Obviously, if chi, we need to take it in order to actually feed ourselves and for our body functions to work properly. So, we need to be in alignment with that same energy. So when we have psychological and emotional wounds, they become blocks within our energy body. And we wouldn't be aware. We would be aware over time, because there's tension. And we'd be like, oh, I'm stressed out. I got tightness in my back. I got tightness in my shoulders. And then we would also see the undesirable life experiences that are playing out. Because when we're imbalanced, that's how they play out. They play out as karmic themes. So that's why I like to look at the shadows, because it gives us an opportunity to heal and shapeshift. Shape shifting allows you to heal because it allows you to see your situation differently, allows you to see yourself differently, because there's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness, and it depends on what your vibration is, whether you're coming from a place of love or whether you're coming from a place of fear. And so we integrate the spiritual wounds, which again are those blocks of fear. Now, you want to enter into a free reading with me, you got to be ready to get a shadow reading. It's because it's not just about, oh, the person loves you and cares about you. There's a lot of people, a lot of relationships out there that the person loves them, but it doesn't look good. It's like wouldn't like the way that person loves. And it doesn't mean that they don't love. It's because whatever they've gone through, they form behaviorism. Now, a lot of times, what you'll notice is that whatever a person's behaviorism is going to trigger you. That's how you know that you're blocked. And a lot of times we get, all the time actually, all relationships are divine. They come into our life to teach us, to grow us. The same way that, you get the message that you need to hear. Well, it's the same thing with the person. You get the people that you need to, come into your life to help you evolve into that highest state of consciousness, which is unconditional love. All right, shut up, right? Shut up and just pull the cards. All right. This card, by the way, is not just going to be the word of the day that you're going to write in your comment bar. It's also going to be the underlying energy of what's going on within your situation. Okay. Past life. Da-da-da-dum, da-da-da. So it's actually 2 words tonight, if you want to be technical. And anything of any importance, like if ever you don't hear the word, you can always go in the description box to find it. If you want to enter into winning a free reading, I'd like to put that out there because you might not hear the message tomorrow night, or I might forget, or whatever. And also know all important links you will find in the description box. All right, so like, subscribe, write the word past life, the 2 words in your comment bar, and you'll know if I chose you, if I wrote the word winner. Then you need to reach out to me at my email at pureenergyhealer70@gmail.com. You find that also in the description box, and we'll figure out the best day and time that works for the both of us. Okay. Past life. Well, obviously, it's like you're connected to someone that is a past life connection, which means that there's a lot of passion. There was instantaneous, the person that either you or your person instantaneously felt as if you knew them, felt familiarity. There was a comfortability, of quirkiness, of deja vu. You are completely different from your person too. And when I say completely different, I mean backgrounds, the way that you think. And so there's a lot of differences, but there's also a lot of similarities is what I'm feeling. So there's a paradox, and those paradoxes are so different that it has the power to trigger. And so past life karmic mates do have the potential to evolve into twin flame relationships if the person does enough healing. I don't know whether this person has done healing. We're going to look and see at the shadows. We're going to look and see the triggers and see actually how bad that they are. And also the hidden truths about what your person really feels about you. And I'm going to look then at your inner child wounds of why you connected to this person. What are you supposed to learn? Because you're a magnet of who and what comes into your life. So what is the karmic lesson that spirit, the universe, doesn't believe that you've learned, and it believes that you need to learn in order to evolve into that highest state of consciousness, which is unconditional love? Now, when we're also talking about past life karmic mates, we're talking about possibility that that person that you're connected to doesn't do any healing. But now you're confronted with a choice, and depending on what you do, we'll see whether or not this situation could even be shape shifted, where if the person wants to heal, if they're open to healing. A lot of times we evolve, we get to a place where we're just like, I don't know what to do to make my life any better, but I want to heal. And so what'll happen is we'll attract what's supposed to come into our life, and a soulmate will come into our life when there's a transition, when there's big transitions. So I believe again that you have a connection with a past life. And so whenever it's karmic mate, and whenever we're talking about a past life karmic mate, I'm getting so excited, the words are coming out too fast. Whenever that is, it means that we have spiritual lessons that need to be learned, and that we could be a catalyst for that person's healing, or vice versa. So I just like to put that out there. So this is the underlying energy, and we're going to see how your situation is playing out. Right. First, I'm going to look at the hidden truths. I was going to start with the triggers, but I'm like, no, I'm curious. I want to know what this person, sometimes I like to see what your person really truly feels about you. What are their hidden truths? what's going on in their life right now? Because that's what these cards will tell us. They'll tell us like what is the most on their mind right now. And that's always the best place to start. I left you before you could leave me. So your person felt this very, very strong connection. And what I'm feeling is like they weren't prepared for the type of relationship. So you're in a higher vibration. So this person really is a past life karmic mate, because past life karmic mate means that they need to learn and they need to evolve. And what do we say? We say a lot of times that narcissists and people that are a lower vibe, they try to be with somebody that they perceive is successful, that they perceive that they would be able to like control and manipulate a little bit too, is the energy. It's that, so I believe that they left you before because they believed that you were going to chase them and you didn't chase them. Like was a manipulative tactic because you were making things difficult, asking too many questions, wanted to, not waste your time. I wish I could share my good news with you. This person now is like regrets the way that they did things. They're looking back because again, when person's wounded, they're coming from a place of survival. So they're not looking about at the future. They're not looking at anything except for themselves, because survival mode means just that. And so person doesn't feel good about themselves, didn't really want you to see who they were, didn't want to have the type of relationship that you wanted to have, kind of wanted to just fuck around, which is what I truly feel, and go from relationship to relationship and have people blow smoke up their ass, and then wanted to have you too, but wanted you too their way. No, of course, but there was always that passion there. And see, that's the thing with past life soulmates. The connection is that there is a very strong chemistry. The passion is actually there to help transmute the spiritual wounds. Why? Because passion relates to fire. And the only way, a lot of times, that we can transmute certain wounds within the root chakra is through, that passion center. And also that helps with obviously the second chakra. So, but this person is coming more from, again, that lower consciousness, and that lower consciousness is just mainly all about passion. It's all about, there's nothing else, is what I'm trying to say. Because they haven't done healing. I'm going to just pull one more. The timing just wasn't right for us. And this is again because they weren't ready. They didn't want to do that. It's not where they were. Not, and I could feel that they knew what the connection was when they met you. So now I'm going to look at the uglies. And the uglies are the triggers and then the shadows. And then we're going to see how they play it, because what we know now is that this person still has a lot of passion for you. They still have a lot of fire for you, and that's because there is that spiritual connection still. You never fulfilled it. You never, they could tell you were never going to give them what they wanted, which was like to have their cake and eat it too. Like, and so, like you said, I think that they played a lot of games and it normally worked. Didn't work with you. And now they're viewing you as somebody completely different breed. Like I felt suffocated by how tightly you were holding on to me. I need to breathe. See, like where I'm feeling like this was your person's trigger more than yours. And I don't even feel like you were holding on to them. I feel that at the time that you met this person, they were actually in another connection with somebody else that they were getting out of, and they were getting out of because they feel like every connection, the person smothers them. Every single connection, the person like that they're with because they don't emotionally give. Were just coming from their ego, like a taker. But the thing is, with you, you have a spiritual connection to this person. So it's different. They actually do have an emotional connection to you. Normally, they don't care. It's like they care and it bothers them that they care, but it bothers them because they have the wounds, which means that they know that they had to change because they also saw that their little games didn't play. So that was more of a trigger, like they were coming more from what other people did. And so they would go into a connection with you, but never would really give you anything. It was like gave you just enough, hoping that you would like be tricked and give them more. Like it was a, I know it sounds crazy, but and trapped. Look at this. I felt trapped in this connection with no way out. I couldn't take it anymore. And so, like I said, I don't really feel like that was you. I feel like this person projected that it was you. But it was really the fact of every single relationship that they do get into, they and part of this is I don't think that your person ever really found who they are. I just believe, meaning like a lot of times when we're growing up, we grow up in a very like restricted environment where someone tells us what we're going to do, and we don't go out and explore and find who we are. What we do is we get into a relationship, and the relationship is fulfilling only for a certain amount of time, and that's because that's not why we're here to just we're actually here in the physical form to be an expression of love. And so until we fulfill our own passions in our life, until we find what we're actually supposed to do, what our connection to the world is, connection to each other on a deep, intimate level, and a connection to God, the universe, like just in general. A lot of people are imbalanced. They don't feel connected to themselves because of anxiety, depression, and a lot of other things. And I feel like your person always gets into codependent relationships. So it's like they have a lot of fear. And it's a lot of fear because they never really found themselves. They just went from one relationship into another relationship, into another relationship, into another relationship. And I believe that like just being in another relationship with someone that wants to love them is triggering to them because they they associate it with pain. They associate it with again feeling trapped, feeling suffocated, like they can't like think for themselves, and they can't because they trigger a lot of fear in people because they have commitment issues. So they come in all codependent where the person gives everything and then all of a sudden they want their freedom once they're comfortable, and then they don't treat the person that's nice to them nicely anymore because it's like, well, it's like I'm a little bit bored. So this person has a bad tendency of projecting a lot to the point that I was asking about you. I wasn't asking, but that is clearly this person because I don't feel like you gave them anything. I don't think that they gave you enough time or energy for it to come out. And so what I feel, Virgo, is that you were always like, why didn't it get off the ground? Why couldn't it work out? Because I feel so much passion for this person. I know that they do me. Why? Well, that's why. And so, like, we look at their shadows and we look and see how they play out, and we'll look and see whether this person will come back, and we'll look and see why you attracted this person. Because I have to go with the energy, how the energy wants to go, what spirit wants you to know for healing purposes, because this could make you feel like, well, I didn't do anything. And so what that's saying is clearly this person didn't give enough and they wouldn't be able to give anything. But that would make you feel as if you are not good enough. That would make you feel as if that there was something wrong with you. It would make you feel. And so, like I said, I want to see whether the person comes back and says sorry and actually evolves into it, because we see that they have passion, but we see that they got triggered by the relationship. And a trigger doesn't mean that it's actually happening. It means that you did something to trigger this person. And it could be like, I want to know like what's going on with us, or can I see you on Saturday? Are you going to be available? Or you might have called this person or text them at the wrong time and they just got triggered. It's again tired, again, emotionally tired from dealing with this person. That's what I feel. And I feel that this person is tired, but because it's a root chakra imbalance. When you're always coming from survival, it taxes your adrenals. That's that endocrine gland that's associated with it. So you felt tired, but that's more from emotionally. And so because they're in balance, they will make you tired because it'll trigger you. We're gonna look and see your triggers in a minute. Fierce. And what happens is that I feel like you get, it says fierce. So it's like I'm not feeling as if boundaries, you don't like to be disrespected. And so when you intuitively, and because I feel like you're very intuitive, Virgo, when you intuitively know when this person's going to do something, you get mad. And you're like, I'm nobody's dummy. I'm nobody's dummy. You can't get over on me. And so then what happens is this insecure person like it feels even more embarrassed and insecure. They're not going to show you that, though. Remember, the person's going to come from their mask. If they're not healed, they're not going to not come from their true self. They don't want you to see that. They don't want to be vulnerable. That's a second chakra imbalance, the vulnerability to which it affects that relationships, because they can't be true. They can't be honest because they don't want to really show like any type of emotion because they associate that with weakness. So the thing is, you look and dealing with the person that wants to show you no, feeling or emotion when you're like, hello, I'm not asking for anything. I'm not asking for anything. And this person's trying to come across like you are going to be fierce. You are going to be fierce, but it's fierce like in the right point of way, but because this person's wounded, everything's amplified. So that's how I feel you got tired. And I also feel like if you were to push this person, they would be fierce. And because they didn't want to heal. So it would become like that, but fierce in a way that would make you feel bad. The kind of not even like when I tap into you, Virgo, I feel like a fierce. That's like, I'm going to be a truth speaker and I'm going to call you out on exactly everything. And it's because I'm nobody's dummy and I'm not going to put up with it. This person, first of all, is used to that because they do it a lot. But then they kind of chicken out, and their fierceness is that they get nasty. They get nasty, meaning they'll try and play underhanded, like a one-up you game. Like, oh, well, you're not going to do this, so I'm going to do this, like real tit for tat, which came from all their past relationships behaviors. How does a person, what's so bad about a codependent relationship, first of all, is it's that both parties feel like they're lacking something. So it becomes like a trauma bond many times. And that trauma bond is like, I need this person, but I hate this person. It keeps them bound to, which is what I feel like your person always did. And so with that, when a person doesn't heal, and what happens is the connection becomes more and more like corroded, corrupt. So again, past like karmic mates at one time, they're always karmic because there's something to learn, but there was love. It's just that love gets so toxic over time because there's no healing, there's no change. And what I feel like is your person was always with people that played it where they gave too much to this person because this person didn't really give that much back in return. And then what would happen is after a certain amount of time, like anything else, person speaks up for themselves, wants the person to change, wants, tries to direct the relationship because they're tired of it, and the person does, it gets a lot of resistance. And so it becomes tit for tat. It becomes completely toxic. So that's how your person's used to navigating their relationships, which is why they think of getting into a relationship with you and they're like, I'm fucking tired. It's like because relationships are not easy. And meanwhile, here you're out here and being like, I don't really like think that it needs to be all that. No, but a wounded person does because they're never coming from the present moment. They're coming from what they believe about themselves. So that's what the problem is. So I should say, well, why did you attract this person into your life? And so I always have to look at the inner child wounds because, you know, and it doesn't mean that we're not going to look and see whether this person is going to evolve or past life karmic mate can evolve. I mean, if you're in separation from this person and they realize that they made a mistake. Well, and there's still passion. That means their lesson has not been learned. And which means in order for them to get relief, they would have to do something in order to get relief. Source. Again, there was a lack, source's spirit. So not all the time, okay, an inner child wound. Um, Not all the time does an inner child wound bring a wound that's bad. Sometimes it brings a gift. And why I'm smiling is because I feel as if you have a really good connection to spirit. You have a really good connection to source, and that spirit is saying you got that in your childhood. And you got that in your childhood because you pretty much, were very intuitive. And I feel like your parents just were busy with other siblings and other things and gave you that time to like unfold, and that's when you can have an imaginary friend without a parent saying there's no such thing, or allowed you to play and fantasize and find yourself. And that could have been because they were busy with work, or it could be that's because somebody was sick, or that was because it doesn't mean that it was for anything bad or anything good. It just means you have a good connection to source because of the environment. And it's about learning how to navigate more from source and not from your mind. Navigating through what you feel and not navigating through what you think. Because I feel like you also have had bad relationships where you have been on the other side, where people have wanted to undervalue you, not treat you with the respect that you deserve, because you were never coming from your true sense of self. And I do believe that this connection has forced you to really tap into your intuition, to really get close to source, and wants you to continue that because this is a soul connection. And a soul connection, remember, is to evolve into the highest state of unconditional love, which is the energy of the universe, which is the energy of God, which is this perfect energy that is inside of you. However, when you get triggered, that you know that that's not where source is. That's because you're not separate from source. So it helped you to connect. And the language of source is intuition. It's also anything soulmate, any type of soulmate, and it's synchronicities and all that. It's an energy language, and spirit saying, this you're strong in. It's like you have the power to help balance this person out, is what I feel. I feel like this is a past life karmic mate, but it depends on how we play it. And what we see is this person left, but they have regret because you didn't chase them. And that's a good thing. We're going to post something else, dance. So again, more about, oh, my background is affecting that, but if you can see her, she is dancing. Dance, the word on the bottom. So it's a little hula dancer. And so what it is about being able to go with the flow of a relationship. And so, and teaching you that. And so you're getting a person that is a past life karmic mate that isn't as evolved. So it might come up in a tarot card reading, almost like this person's younger than you, but they're not younger. They're just not as emotionally intelligent. So this is about you tapping into source, and that is a co-creation thing. That's your reading energy, and to be able to go with the flow. So obviously, when you want it, when you're in resistance, we know that it's not good. So relationships teach us to surrender our ego, surrender. And so also, if we have this unconditional love because we're really passionate about the person with the past life relationship that comes into our life, well, we're going to be more likely to do it, even though we don't want to, because your person acted like an ass. And now I feel like they're a little bit embarrassed to like come back. That's just what I'm feeling, but we're going to see because we have to, but we have to understand what spirit is teaching you. It's like, this isn't actually your wounds. I feel like this is actually your gift, believe it or not. And you're saying, well, why am I getting this? And so you might have had a parent that wasn't as emotionally intelligent, but they did love, and they came more from a very logical and analytical thing. So it's not that you don't love them, but maybe you didn't understand them, and that created a block. And so, in order for you to forgive and fully let go, so you can really come from your true sense of self. A lot of times we can't forgive our parents 100%. Like we hold on to resentment. So spirit says, well, that's why you're going to get a person that thinks the way that they did, acts the same way that they did. It's going to trigger the shit, but you're going to stick around because you're hot for the person. And that's going to make you change. And we see that with your person because you ain't budging. I'm afraid of commitment. Then we already knew that. So this is the issue what they're battling. They're like, I'm afraid of commitment because that's all that they're thinking, because I'm not good enough. Because if there's something wrong with me, because it never works out, they're always coming from the past. I think the world of you, of course, because they see you now as the like through different eyes. See, when they were playing the game, they didn't give you much time. And now, but they always had that connection. It's not like they didn't. They were like, I just don't want to have all that now. It was always later. It's always later. It's always later. But that's because of their fear. That's why it said, well, what is, your deal? And so that's also, by the way, source. It's like, listen to source. And again, if something's wrong, don't go with it. Also, if this person isn't going to give you enough because they're afraid of commitment, don't go with it. It's also because you got to go with the flow of life in order for you to really succeed in your life, that everybody has a path. And the path isn't a logical one, it's an intuitive one. And it's the way that we give and receive of love through our passion for life. When we are on our path, we meet the people that are supposed to come into our life. This person may have been a step on your journey to teach you that unconditional love, but I love you, but that you're not, your actions and your behaviorism, it's not good enough for me. I'm not going to be happy with you. And then it's that person's karma. So, but it's about, listen, our story isn't over yet. And I knew it because this person, like I said, really does have feelings for you. They don't want the commitment. That's why they played games. They were like, I want everything on my terms. But they seeing that that's not going to be possible with you. That is not going to be possible with you. You are the love of my life. It's like, and that's the thing, that's what it would take for this person to change their actions, change their behaviorisms, change the shit that they need to change. Because they're like, they've become comfortable in that player role, even though they don't get good results. It's like, but what's happening is it's damaged them. It's damaged them to a point that they just don't, they didn't believe in love anymore. And I believe what happened is you came into this person's life and they're like, I thought I was going to treat you the way I treat everybody else because everyone else gives me exactly what I want. They left and they were like, okay, now come and chase me. and, and what they saw is you didn't do that. And then they were like, wait a minute. It's like, and now they're forced to look at you because you were like, no, no, I'm not doing that. And what they're seeing is, wow, why didn't I see this before? Why didn't I, why didn't I, like, yes, I know that we had a connection. Yes, I know that we had that, but it's like, I thought it was always going to be there. I thought that it was, now it's like this person knows that they have to come back, but, and they also know that they have to give 100% and it scares them. So they're fighting it a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but inevitably I know that they're coming back because that's the whole thing, is that when it's real, you can't control it. And the thing is, you're not trying to control it. And that's the thing. Normally, the people in their life control it, make them feel bad. They get emotionally manipulated. They stay for a certain amount of time. The sex is good. The connection is good. Other things are good. They stick around. But then that's not real love, where you're like not doing that. So this person's like, I could actually be myself and not be smothered in a connection because you're not up my ass. Even though I played dirty and I did whatever, you're like, you're living your best life. I'm sitting here with my thumb up my ass, waiting for you to come back. You're not coming back. Now, wow, and now I have to look at myself through the eyes that I don't really want to look at and be miserable because I know the connection that we had. And as time goes by, they're like, I'm afraid of commitment, but you're the love of my life. It's like I can't, I that like the fear of losing you is overriding the fear of actually commitment because I can see it being different with you. I know that it would be. So that's their perception. And so we say, well, what can we do to make this situation a little bit easier? What is the energy that we're supposed to bring in? Because if this person's coming in, they're going to change. They're changing, but they're going to change to your direction. And I say that because they don't know about any other thing except for what they've done before, which is toxic. And they're not on the same vibration yet. They're open to it. That's why source has brought you in. And so you're like, well, what the fuck am I learning? And spirit says maybe again to hold certain boundaries, to really listen to source, and regardless of what this person says or how fearful, and it means to hold your ground. You'd be like, why? Well, things to be strong within other areas of your life, because our relationships teach us how to interact better. So I believe that this person thinks a lot differently than you. They're not as emotional, they're not as spiritual, they're not. So again, it's going to be up to you on how the relationship unfolds. That's why it's karmic. It means learn that if you do something different, even with a person that's on a lower vibration than you, if there's real love there, and what we see is if a person leaves and they come back and they surrender their ego, well, guess what? There is love there. Well, then the universe grants them again that person. And you're like, well, why me? And spirit says again, so that you hold to what you feel and you go with the flow of life regardless of what this person says, because they might get triggered and want to come from a place of fear and try and emotional manipulate you to get what they want, like what they used to do. But when you stick to it, this person will again go back to surrender. And what you'll see is, I got a better result from listening to myself. And instead of being with all these people that come in strong and tell me how it's going to be, and then I wind up getting like, don't get what I need. And Spirit saying, yeah. So you're doing something different to break that karmic cycle. And it's like, and because you can't heal it unless you actually see a different outcome. And so wisdom, God has a plan. I live here now knowing beauty is to come. I don't force things to happen faster than the universe has decided for me. I learned from my experiences, take small steps in faith, and succeed thanks to all my efforts. So wisdom, it's coming from that higher wisdom, which is claircognizance, clairsentience, it's clear knowing. And that's again the language of spirit that's inside of us. So coming from that place and trusting in it to be like, again, that you have feelings for this person. There's unconditional love there. It's like, this is what this person feels. Now, some of you, yes, some of you, no. I'm not going to pull for that because, like I said, a lot of times it depends. And it depends, it's going to be different for everyone because it's a spiritual reading, that's a collective one. So if you want to take this person back because you have free will, then it's to say, well, I really need to be able to like know that it's first me and that God has a plan for you. You're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest, to be the expression of love by becoming and doing what you love so you can contribute to the world. That's for first and foremost, so that you fill your cup up all the way so that it overflows. And then that's how you make sure you take care of yourself. And because you know God has a plan, the universe has a plan that's just for you. Now, if this person like is going to follow suit and there are a past life karmic mate, they are doing the healing work, they could evolve into a twin flame relationship. But Spirit says you don't rush this process because they're still not 100% healed. And guess what, darling? You aren't 100% healed either. That's why you're getting this person. You're a lot healed, but you need to do the integration part, which is why the universe says it's test time, darling. Bring them in, bring that karmic in, because it's going to be your time to do the test. And so it's showtime. So it depends on how you play. So it's again, you learn from your experiences in the past that giving into a person that is not on the same vibration as you is not going to be a good thing. That you have to come from your truth. And that you take small steps, one day at a time. One day at a time. And always thanks to all your efforts, which is having gratitude for the connection. And so you're staying in a high vibration, right? Gratitude. There's no other higher vibration than being thankful for your connection to teach you, to grow you, to heal you, and to approach the relationship differently, more from a spiritual perspective. Because logically, you may be like, it doesn't make any sense. This person triggers me and they did things not really the right way and they pissed me off and they hurt me and Spirit says, well, that's your ego. Surrender it. It's like if this person is willing to come back and change and evolve, and they are that past life mate, well, karmic mate, there's a lot of passion there, there's a lot of love. So you can be like, no, I don't want to be with them. But you would be surprised that you would have a very hard time because those type of connections, the person feels like home and there's intense chemistry, there's intense passion. It's almost like, fuck it, I see the red flags, but I'm going to go into it anyway. And Spirit says, you can go into it and actually shapeshift this situation, but it's about making sure you're taking care of yourself and listening to yourself, not listening to them because they're wounded. I'm going to leave it there, Virgo. You let me know whether you resonated with this. And if you did, Don't forget to write the word of the day in your comment bar. And that was past life. I'm like, where's the word of the day? I'm like, I said it all through the thing. It's past life because it's a past life karmic mate. Those are the hardest type of relationships. That's why they say karma's a bitch because we associate, but it doesn't need to be. So don't forget to write past life in your comment bar because if you have not seen yourself as a winner, you will see yourself as a winner. I can guarantee it because I am really trying to do as many free readings as possible because a lot of people don't collect them. They write the word, but they never email me for that reading. So like I said, if you want the reading, don't forget to email me. Okay, I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.